So these are all of the bundles. There's 8 bundles in total. They all are different sizes. They have approximately 15 to 20 different fabrics. Some are a lot thinner, such as this one, and some are a lot thicker. All of these fabric bundles will be available tonight in my Etsy shop at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I have a couple scraps left over of each and every bundle. They won't be the same quantity, of course. Some are very small pieces, but I can create some scrap packs. For those of you who are interested, as I think everyone deserves to play around with these beautiful fabrics, and I can't wait to see what you guys create with them. The journals that I make, I only use the scraps, so hopefully that gives you some encouragement that you don't necessarily need a lot of fabric to create beautiful journals. Curated bundles with a particular color palette and one-of-a-kind laces and fabrics is what will truly set your imagination wild to create any type of journal cover that makes you smile. A trio of blues, beautiful pinks, champagnes, different shades and tones of the blues, the grays, the pinks. And the fabrics are truly one of my favorites. This is probably my favorite bundle out of all of them just because of how much delicate lace there is. There's a flower sequin lace that is absolutely precious at the top of the bundle. It's a little flower sequin, but it's absolutely precious. This is a page from my Rosabella sewing journal, and just to share with you how you could use the sequined mesh as a little flip. You can use it as a pocket, which then will create a see-through element. This is a really unique fabric that I absolutely love. And I love putting it against the light. As you can see, the little flowers, it's as if they're dancing. Not to mention the beautiful silks that are included. You get this entire piece so that you can create as many ruffles as you would like. This is definitely one of my favorite bundles, and the way that I love using it in my journals is to add that fantasy touch on certain pages. There's so many little fabrics behind the front pieces, pinks, different shades, and then probably one that I'm very excited to be able to include without messing anything up is that gorgeous velvet. It's embossed, lots of pieces here to create covers, pockets, as well as some coordinating elements such as this beautiful lace and then these pieces that you can layer on. This is another one of the fabrics that is included. Can you imagine this on a cover or in a pocket? And you can layer them too. Even though the Rosabella is not in this color palette, you can layer them, the laces, the fabrics together to create really gorgeous spreads on your journal pages. And it's following the same technique that I did to create my Rosabella cover. You add a beautiful paper on the back, and then you layer up a pocket, a ruffle, and other little elements. This is another lace that's included in that bundle. These fabrics would match beautifully with the scrapbook that we have just created together. This one here is more of a Victorian design, but it can still match elegantly. The lace that we've included in this bundle is how I added a little bit of a decorative spot on the cover of my scrapbook. When you have laces that are not necessarily long enough to create pockets, so for example, in this page, I had enough lace to create a deep pocket. If you only have a little piece such as this or a piece such as this, those are perfect laces to add alongside covers, especially on the front of covers, as they add a lot of interest and they also extend your cover by a couple millimeters, of course, or even an inch, but that adds a lot of interest to the cover of your journal and it creates that layered effect. And that's one of my favorite ways of using laces that are more for trims or to decorate ruffles especially. I wouldn't use these laces to create pockets, but I would use them to add embellishments on the sides. So this kit is perfect for those of you who want to create fantasy vintage journals in this particular color palette. When you're creating journals, for example, this is Rosabella's sewing journal, and you have these elements such as the appliques that are included in this particular bundle. You can add them to the sides where ruffles live, the edges of pages right below the ruffles to create little text spots or just to serve as a decorative spot. It adds so much femininity and elegance to a journal that I absolutely love. And in Rosabella's sewing journal, here at the very top, This really pretty pastel pink lace is also from this gorgeous bundle, but I just used a little scrap piece. Now in this Rosabella journal, you can see the bottom has that gorgeous rose trim that is also included in the bundle. It's definitely made for a princess, especially this little trim piece that I love so much. It reminds me of a little tiara, just like a little princess would wear. So this is so precious. You'll find a lot of the laces and fabrics in here have been used in the journals that I've been creating. And there's other little fabrics behind there. And it's perfect for those of you who love this princess style, or if you want to create your own Rosabella journal. This bundle is perfect. The color palette for this parcel, as you can see, is pinks and blues. It reminds me very much like cherry blossoms. I have a cherry blossom in the backyard, and these are the colors that make me think of spring, which is ironic because when you think of spring, normally you think of like flowers like this, chamomiles and roses and tulips. But for me, I always think of cherry blossoms when springtime comes around. So if you're someone who adores the combination of blues, pinks, these are the laces and the silks that are the main focus for Rosabella's sewing journal. I want to share with you, there's so many laces peeking behind. This one, I don't want to mess it up, but this fabric is gorgeously embroidered. It has a really nice shiny blue color on the background, and so the embroidered raised pattern gives it a really nice vintage brocade look. So this bundle is perfect for those of you who want to create a Rosabella journal, however more on the vintage side, and elegant Rosabella who only wears silks and very lavish laces. That's what I imagine, at least in my imagination. My favorite way of using elements such as this lace, also the lace at the bottom which looks like the little Eiffel Tower, is using, if it's about 4 to 5 inches long, the lace, I love using it for pockets. If the lace has a very lightweight consistency, such as this, I use it as ruffles. This texture is so precious. It feels like a little cloud is on your journal. Here in one of the floating pockets, if you recognize this one, that same lace is included in this bundle as well. And this gorgeous ruffle of my journaling dreams, the material is included all ready to go in this perfect little bundle. And if you remember this really gorgeous ruffle, this fabric here, and you get a really nice amount of it so that you can create as many ruffles as your heart desires. That is what I recommend with fabrics such as these. It has a very nice silk texture. So little pieces here and there can be used throughout various journals and you get a different result each time, since every journal has its own personality, and that is the same with all of these fabric bundles. If we want to talk about a beautiful fantasy represented through laces and fabrics, this is the bundle for you. I wanted to create an ombre transitioning from a deeper blue to a fantasy blue with sequins, introducing purple and pink. And not only do you have the beautiful ombre of fantasy laces on the top, but also peeking behind are some embroidered laces, a little bit of polka dot mesh, some purple and gold lace. All of the laces and fabrics have a type of shine, sequin, or metallic to them that to me is very special and unique. And I've also included some cotton laces, of course, so that you have a nice balance. These sequins would be beautiful on top of a tab, and if I fold this up, you can see you get a really nice amount so that you can include this not only for tabs but also a pocket. It took me so long to try to get the flowers to lay perfect, as it bothered me when some of the petals were folded. So you want to make sure that these bundles get to you in the safest way possible, with the most beautiful laces that we can find. These are the laces that layer on effortlessly on our journal pages, and you can use them in any type of a journal. You can use them in a pastel journal, shabby chic, more fantasy, or even vintage and Victorian. Lace is never out of style, and it can fit and look beautiful in any journal that you want to create. I also really like these tiny little trims because they add so much to the edge of a page. It adds a really nice elegant lace border to the edges of your pages. Just goes to show that even the tiniest little strip of lace can add a lot to our journal pages. I've never been able to create a full-on blue/green bundle before, so it's pretty much safe to say that I am obsessed. This one reminds me of like an English garden, as it pairs perfectly with the pinks and the browns. This was the first bundle that we created. This is what really inspired us to continue the theme of layering our laces and going with color palettes. Just like the other bundles, you get little tiny laces as trims. These are little berries with leaves, some gorgeous laces that have two sides to them, one on the top and one on the bottom. This lace I've also used in Rosabella's journal. There's little pieces of fabric as well so that you can create tabs. This one is really beautiful. I didn't have that much of this lace, so I was only able to give each person like a little applique amount. And then also on the back we have some floral cottons and some gorgeous embroidered mesh lace. Definitely use the larger laces for pockets and layer them on top of your cottons. It adds a lot of dimension to your pages when you do this. Perfect for any type of garden journal or springtime journal. This beautiful bundle also has a very princess feel to it. A lot of these laces were used in Rosabella. You have plenty of laces, a nice upholstery. I want to share with you this piece of fabric, which is very special. It's a type of organza material, but it has flowers embossed on it, and we gave it a scalloped edge in this gorgeous color so that it creates a really beautiful and elegant ruffle. They tend to have kind of like a strawberry shortcake kind of theme to them. I love it. I love this color palette. I'll try to share with you some of the fabrics underneath, as it's very difficult to pull these little bundles apart as I don't want to ruin them since they take forever to layer up, and all of our fabrics are cut precisely so that you can grab them and start using them immediately. You can start using the trims, the laces, everything is cut as perfect as possible so that they're ready to be used in your precious journals and art pieces. Now this one is a pastel lover's dream. All of the laces are pastel tones and also neutrals. So I wanted to include laces that were not only pink, but a nice neutral pinkish brown. Can you imagine this one on the edge of a journal? This is one of the fabrics that I think is the most interesting out of all the bundles. Move these to the side just a little bit so that you can truly see this fabric and how it shines. It's a metallic champagne thread, and then it has sequins all throughout. I love this as tabs, as a little strip on the edge of a ruffle. And then of course your gorgeous laces out of cotton, out of mesh. In my Rosabella, you can see that I used this really sweet lace applique as a trim on the edge of my page. And you get that same applique as the one that I used in my Rosabella journal. I love using these fabrics not only for decorative purposes, but also functional purposes. This bundle has more cottons and more traditional laces and fabrics, polka dot, calico fabric. So a lot of these fabrics are more accessible and easier to use as opposed to the fantasy ones. And I wanted to create a bundle that represented summer and that had those traditional fabrics that we all know and love and have so much comfort with. Cotton laces, a flower trim. My favorite fabric, of course, in this bundle is this gorgeous floral that's folded in half, so you get the front and the back, so it can cover a traveler's notebook or a journal cover. And I love the little pieces. It makes me think of a little patchwork quilt. This is the fabric bundle that I would most likely use with my everyday journal. Now that spring is here and summertime is fastly approaching, I love using these bright colors in a journal such as this one. And there's certain journals that require just a beautiful floral print. Just a simple floral print on cotton is sometimes all that you need. I hope that you loved taking a peek at the newest fabric bundles that will be up in the shop. They take a lot of time and dedication, so probably the next time that we'll be doing this will be a few months down the road, as these take a lot of time in preparation. But in the meantime, I will definitely be working on one-of-a-kind bundles that will just be unique to one. So thank you so much for watching, and I wish you so much peace, so much love, and sending a huge hug your way.